When someone betrays you, whether in trust, in loyalty, or in promises, it hits a part of you that words can't fully explain. You start replaying everything in your mind. You question yourself, your worth, your judgment, even your kindness. And somewhere inside, a quiet voice asks, how do I heal after betrayal? How do I rebuild my peace and my self-respect after everything I've been through? If you've been carrying this pain silently, you're not alone. Today, you and I are going to walk through a calm, honest, and empowering journey. Not to justify what happened, but to help you heal, stand again, and reclaim the peace that belongs to you. Betrayal doesn't begin with anger. It begins with that deep, disorienting shock that almost freezes your mind. One moment you feel safe, and the next you're questioning everything you believed. You replay conversations, revisiting moments you once trusted, searching for signs you missed. It's not just the action that hurts. It's the confusion, the disbelief, the sudden collapse of emotional certainty. Your heart struggles to make sense of how someone you trusted could act with carelessness or disregard. But here's the part you often forget. This reaction isn't weakness. It's evidence that you cared sincerely. The pain is not a reflection of your shortcomings. It is simply the cost of having a truthful heart in a world where not everyone honors truth. Accepting that initial shock allows you to breathe again. It allows you to acknowledge, yes, this hurt me, without letting the hurt consume your identity. And in that recognition, you begin separating who you are from what happened. The betrayal is theirs, but the strength to rise from it is yours. And the moment you see that distinction, clarity slowly returns. After betrayal, the mind often turns inward and starts searching for what you could have done differently. You question whether you misread intentions, whether you were too open, too trusting, too forgiving. Your thoughts spiral into self-criticism because it feels easier to blame yourself than to accept that someone you valued chose to break trust. But this is where perspective matters. Trust is not a flaw. It is a virtue. Patience is not a flaw. It is strength. Your sincerity didn't cause the betrayal, their choices did. Separating your goodness from their actions is essential for healing. You offered honesty, effort, and loyalty, and none of these qualities become invalid because someone failed to appreciate them. When you step back and look at the situation without emotional fog, you begin to understand that your heart was not the problem. You acted according to your values while they acted according to theirs. This clarity frees you from the weight of unnecessary guilt. It reminds you that you didn't fall short. They fell short of the standard you held for them, and knowing this is where self-respect quietly returns. At some point, the emotional fog clears just enough for you to realize that staying in the pain won't change what happened. The betrayal already occurred. Now the question is what you do with the pieces left behind. This is where rebuilding begins, not with drastic steps, but with quiet, steady choices. You start noticing what brings peace, what drains you, and what needs to be removed from your space. Your boundaries become clearer because the hurt showed you where they were too open. You begin responding less from emotion and more from clarity. And each time you choose calm over chaos, self-respect over guilt, presence over overthinking, you reclaim a little more of yourself. Healing isn't dramatic, it's consistent, gentle alignment with who you want to be, not who the betrayal tried to turn you into. One of the hardest truths after betrayal is accepting that closure doesn't come from the person who hurt you. It comes from within, through understanding, acceptance, and letting go of the need for explanations that may never arrive. You learn that peace is not found in rewriting the past, but in creating distance from what disrupts your emotional balance. When you stop waiting for validation or apology, you stop giving power to the wound. You shift your focus from, why did they do this? To, how can I move forward in a healthier way? And this mindset opens a new emotional doorway. It reduces the grip of resentment and makes space for calm. You begin trusting your own judgment again, recognizing that your worth was never tied to someone else's inability to honor loyalty. As you move further from the initial shock of betrayal, you start noticing how much of your energy was tied to managing someone else's behavior, emotions, or approval. This realization can feel heavy at first, but it becomes a turning point. You begin redirecting that energy inward, toward your habits, your routines, your environment. Small acts like organizing your space, journaling your thoughts, spending time in silence, or committing to a daily walk help you rebuild inner stability. These simple practices strengthen your discipline, and discipline slowly rebuilds confidence. You start trusting yourself again, not because everything is perfect, but because you are showing up for yourself in ways you once hoped others would. The more you invest in your well-being, the less room there is for old wounds to control your emotions or decisions. Healing after betrayal also requires learning to detach from the stories your mind keeps replaying. The what-ifs, the imagined conversations, the scenarios where things could have gone differently, they drain your strength without giving anything back. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging to pain as if it defines you. When you consciously shift your focus from rumination to constructive action, your emotional landscape changes. You feel less reactive, more grounded, more aware of what truly matters. You start prioritizing inner peace over winning arguments, over proving points, over being understood by someone who chose not to value you. This kind of detachment gives you freedom, not from the memory of what happened, but from the grip it had on your day-to-day life. As your clarity grows, you begin to redefine what safety, respect, and connection mean to you. Betrayal often exposes where your boundaries were too open, too flexible, or too undefined. Instead of blaming yourself, you use this insight to rebuild stronger limits, not walls of isolation, but gates of wisdom. You learn to say no without guilt, to pause before giving access to your emotions, and to observe patterns instead of rushing into trust. This shift protects your peace in ways you didn't know were possible. You start recognizing early signs of manipulation, inconsistency, or emotional neglect, and you respond with calm distance instead of emotional chaos. Over time, your boundaries stop feeling like defense mechanisms and start feeling like self-respect, gently guiding who belongs in your life and who does not. Eventually, healing after betrayal becomes less about what someone did to you and more about who you are becoming because of it. The pain that once felt sharp starts teaching you resilience, patience, and emotional maturity. You begin choosing what uplifts your spirit rather than what satisfies your ego. You notice peace returning in small moments, quiet mornings, honest conversations, simple routines that bring stability. You gain a deeper appreciation for loyalty, sincerity, and people who show up with consistency instead of grand promises. And slowly, you outgrow the version of yourself that tolerated chaos just to feel connected. You rise into someone stronger, clearer, and more grounded in self-worth. The betrayal no longer defines you. Your response, growth, and renewed dignity do. Healing after betrayal is not about forgetting what happened. It's about rebuilding your peace and your self-respect in a stronger, wiser way. Your journey matters. Your growth matters. Your peace matters. Share your thoughts below. How are you healing today? And remember, how to heal after betrayal. Rebuild your peace and self-respect isn't just a title. It's a path you are already walking with strength.